So this is actually not a very easy thing to do. So we're going to go ahead and break down in my opinion, your opinion may vary, which in fact, at the end of the video, once you've heard my opinions and all that, let me know your opinion in the comment section down below. But we're going to need to go ahead and break down my top 5 Vegeta cards currently in Japanese version because, some of this stuff isn't available on global, but just in Dokkan Battle as an entity. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Subscribe if you're new. Quick programming plug. If you are not subscribed to my second channel, it is linked in the description where I do my Pokemon Sun Let's Play. I'm going to be bringing back Pokemon Yellow, and I do some Pokemon Duel over there. So second channel in the description. Let's go ahead and break it down. So what I meant by that is it's not easy because there are a lot of really solid Vegeta cards. And as I kind of looked at this list, I looked at it and said, well, some of these guys are just kind of on the same wavelength as far as like how tangible and usable they are. So it's kind of hard to break down 5, and I feel like Goku cards probably are a little bit easier. Quick little funny story. Alex actually put up the Goku video yesterday in which I commented, I was like, bro, what are the odds we both have the same idea? We've been doing that a lot lately. And I said, bro, I literally recorded this video after I did my LR video the other day, and I was going to put it up tomorrow, which you guys are seeing, that's today. Instead, I just went ahead and put up this Vegeta video instead. So that's funny, man. Subscribe to my boy Alex, the Gaming Claw. Anyways, I have a couple of honorable mentions. You guys see the list. There's a lot of Vegetas in here. A couple of honorable mentions, which, well, this guy's one too. This intelligence one on the far left. I didn't even see him until just now. Really solid. Just quick honorable mention for him. He's good. Gets the 3-turn stack. Gets the 20%, which is actually really high, significant increase. Only problem with him is that it's independent on the intelligence orbs. Recovering candy it's a thing, it's like not really good for him unless you're taking on Kid Boo's event or something involving Majin Buu. Sometimes Majin Buu's on the map and you have to heal, or there's the candy on there. He changes the orbs. Golden Z Fighter is a pretty cool link. It just doesn't have very many people in there. Supreme Power's super niche. Overall, very solid link set though. So honorable mention for him. So we're gonna knock him out. Next honorable mention is this guy. I didn't even know he's a Rainbow Lead until literally just now. But, I mean, no HP, no key, so it's like it doesn't really matter. Either way, Supreme Damage, 100% up. Basically, that Super Saiyan Blue AGL Goku that everybody loves for his amazing ability to do a lot of damage. This is that guy's counterpart. Quick note, this guy came out at the same time as that AGL one, which the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta that links really well with the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Goku came out later on. So these two came out together, but the Goku seems to be in a better situation because he has a better buddy. There's actually a couple of Super Saiyan Blue STR Gokus, which I'll show you really quick. They're just not tangible on STR, really. So there's this SR one, which I believe came on like a magazine promo. He's just not very good, and he's unobtainable anyway. I don't even have him. Like, he's super, super old. And then they have the one that came out on the Trunks banner, which I think is actually live on global now, if I'm not mistaken. So honorable mention to this guy. If he had a better buddy, he'd probably pop into the list. But you guys saw my video. If you haven't, go check it out where I showcase this guy on global on an LR Broly lead. So go ahead and check that out. He's in my thumbnail for it, so you can't miss it, really. It came out like last week. So honorable mention for him. And the last one is this guy. Only problem with him is a 7-turn restriction. I really wanted to put him in the list at probably number 5. The problem with that is I can go ahead and say personally this 7 turns isn't an issue for me on my STR team, but everybody doesn't have my STR team. So that's why basically he's not going to make my list. But overall, 50% chance to stun. Solid key multiplier, but he's not a damage dealer anyway. So supreme damage, all that stuff doesn't really matter. He has nice stats, 9,000, almost 10,000 HP. When you put him in the potential system, he'll have over 10,000. Receive damage down by 80%. Honestly, that sticks to super attacks and normal attacks. He's got one of the best tanking abilities in the game, period. Like, probably top 5. If it wasn't for this restriction, he'd probably be just innately in there because there are very few guys that can mitigate this much damage on super and normal attacks, so that immediately knocks out the Vegito cards. But he has a restriction. So the only one that really comes to mind, aside from him, that can do that is, at that degree, that good, is AGL Golden Frieza. Correct me if I'm mistaken. So there's that. Oh, by the way, I put up a global video yesterday, and I was, I told somebody commented, and I was like, bro, I totally forgot Rose greatly lowers defense. I'm so used to like just some of these guys and some scenarios, I forget. So forgive me. It's a YouTuber curse. If I have to sit down and break down these units, I remember things. I look at them from a different perspective, but sometimes I'm just like, boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna play with that because I'm so used to it. So number 5 is going to jump in to be this Rebirth Vegeta. So to rebirth him, you have to get this Vegeta, and you have to get 7 battlefield medals, which is like 25,000 of those points or whatever. This guy was habitually bad, and yes, I said bitch in there, but anyways, he was habitually bad, but this guy's really good. 80% or below, it looks kind of bad, but it's really not. I mean, that's what, a couple of attacks, and the thing is, he'll always basically have that, because you're always going to enter another turn basically below 80%. When you heal, as soon as your turn starts, because you're low on HP, that won't take this away from him. He'll have already got the passive increase. So innately, you have a guy that has 90% attack and defense up, which with his base stats, it's 5,000 defense, rounded up. 8,000 attack is kind of the little gray area for him. That could be a little bit higher. If you put him in the potential system, he's going to have over 30,000, 35,000, maybe around 40,000, depending on how many orbs you put in defense on a Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta team. Of course, this is conducive to JP right now. He's totally exclusive to JP, and he'll also be a unit that can hit pretty hard. And he has Prepare for Battle, which is good for him. The previous iteration did not have that. Revival is kind of hit or miss. I don't think there's anybody on that team that really is usable with that. But I will throw a curveball at you. He has Shattering the Limit, which is the rebirth link, the 2 key link for the rebirth units. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because he gets such a significant increase that the only thing that really does is hold back whoever he's linking with. That holds them back from getting that 15% for Fierce Battle. That's kind of like not a problem for him, but it may be a problem for them if the other unit on your field, because you can have 3 at a time, doesn't have Fierce Battle, so you don't have Fierce Battle across the board. But at the same time, that may be a good thing, because that allows him to basically become one of LR Vegeta's best linking buddies, and he's coincidentally an AGL unit. So honestly, I never even looked at him, and this is what I just meant, like when I have a chance to dissect these guys, honestly, he could pop into being an optimal AGL unit if you're running double LR Vegetas, because they share the same link set. And we'll talk about LR Vegeta, because he's of course going to be on this list. So there's that. Really, really good Vegeta card here. So if you get the chance, go ahead and Dokkan Awaken him. So next is this Vegeta, and this Vegeta makes the list strictly on merit, because he's able to link with the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Goku. And, a lot of people kind of look at him as just being that guy. He's basically the equivalent to Super Saiyan 3 GT Ape Goku. He's basically that guy, right? He is there to link with the other guy that does more damage, in which the Goku is there to link with Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So this guy's there to link with the Super Saiyan 4 or Super Saiyan Blue Goku, because they trigger basically all of each other's links, except for like Prodigies and Kamehameha, which is like they're super insignificant, and you could probably get them elsewhere on the team anyway. So he's really good in that regard, but a lot of people kind of overlook the fact that he still himself gets a nice attack and defensive increase, so he can fit a similar role to the one that we just talked about, that exact same one. The stipulation on this is that he has to be super attacking, so it's not going to be something he just innately has like the other one, but it doesn't truly matter. So he can fill the exact same role, be a guy that can hit hard and just take minimal damage back. I didn't even notice he was a rainbow leader. I just, because I'm so used to playing JP, I don't ever look at some of these units as leader skills, because most of these guys can't be functioning leaders, nowadays. Not to say he can't, it's just you wouldn't run them. So either way, he also, one thing he has over the other one is he does have Fierce Battle. So Fierce Battle just innately gives him 95% attack, basically. So, I don't think it actually mathematically stacks that way, but it's another 15% on top of that. And also the fact that if he's linked with the Goku, not only does he trigger all of Goku's links, once again, the inverse is true, the Goku triggers all of this Vegeta's links too, which allows this Vegeta to hit pretty hard. You guys have seen him on my Super AGL videos. This guy can hit 5, 6, 700K. He's a very good unit individually without the Goku, but they take each other to another level because the Goku can start hitting for over like 1,000,000 damage eventually with enough potential system buffs. And that's a whole nother debate whether to get into the Super Saiyan Blue versus Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. It just comes down to what you're running basically. Because if you're running LR Vegeta, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken would be the better leader or the better guy to have on the team. If you're not, if you're just running Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, it's probably better to just run Super Saiyan Blue Goku if you've put in orbs into him. So let's go ahead and move on to number 3 now. Number 3 is Super Saiyan Blue Intelligence, the leader, the demigod leader. Immense damage, raises attack for 3 turns, 100% up. Extreme type enemies, attack and defense down 20%. Extreme type is a nerf on that because they essentially didn't want to make him Omega but better because they were super... I've said it so many times. This game is so good at trying to protect its units and nerf units in little subtle ways that you wouldn't really truly look at as a nerf, but it is. You know, and that's kind of what they did to Sin Shenron on that same vein. They were like, okay, well, we can't have 2 Omegas, but this guy is technically the same character because, you know, one is like post Dragon Ball absorption or whatever he did. So they're kind of like the same guy. So we're going to make him the same unit. But we're going to give him, one of them, Sin Shenron, a useless passive because lowering defense by 30% is just like, okay, that doesn't help you. You know, it looks pretty, but it doesn't help you. I've talked about this so much. I'm sorry. It's just, if you like lowering defense, it's so generic. It's like the most generic thing they can apply to a unit. Saying, oh, they lower defense. They great. It's like, it's so played out. Lowering attack is just innately significantly better. Regardless, leaving that alone, they also took away shocking speed on Sin Shenron because they gave it to Omega, and Omega got the attack reduction, which is super significant. That's probably the best thing about Omega. So Vegeta does both of those things to a lesser degree, not 30%, but he has a stipulation that it has to be extreme types. He gets a free 100%, which in the era of the original, you know, God leads, mono leads, the Super Saiyan 3 Goku got 100% up, but he was forced to get a 7-turn restriction. So it just shows you the creep of this game, the power creep. But immense damage, 100% up, 3-turn stack, 3-turn stack, 3-turn stack. I'll just go a broken record, just repeat that. 3-turn stack, 3 times a million, because that is super significant. That's very important. Whenever Global gets that update, it doesn't really matter on Global right now, but when Global gets the update that applies the passives and things that like Kaioken effects and stacking like this, and, you know, stuff like the STR Perfect Cell, who should be coming out eventually on Global. They're kind of skipped him at this point. He'll come out eventually. You know, guys like that are super big beneficiaries of that, and he's one of the best ones because at some point this guy starts hitting for over 1 million damage, over 1.5 million damage. He's really good, and he's got a lot of defensive value because of the fact that he lowers the enemy's attack. So he's just overall a top tier, optimal, one of the best units in the game as far as intelligence units goes. Probably top 5 intelligence unit, just overall, maybe top 6 or 7, whatever the number is. Just phenomenal unit. 12 keys, 140%. Super attack is increased by 50% basically each turn. You know, so the attack boost from the super attack is 50%, so he gets 50% more attack actually. So really good guy. I can't sing nothing but praise for him. I've always loved him. People have always kind of talked bad about him, and it's not his fault. It's just until you get to the era of 120% leaders, or you get until the 100 or the stacks staying like I was talking about, he's kind of underwhelming. Of course, it depends on what you have. You have options that are not as good as him or whatever. You know, he may be your best card. That's perfectly fine. But in a scenario where you have most of everything available, he can get kind of underwhelming because you look at a hero team like, well, who do you replace? I mean, sometimes you replace Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken or whatever if I'm taking on a villain because I want your 20% down attack, so that's very good. It really helps the Vegito Blue tanking, so, like, what do you replace? So, because it's a little tight-knit team, do you want physical Gotenks to CL, Super Gogeta, both Vegetos, what, you know? So, anyways, number 2 is actually going to be LR Vegeta. So, this one is, which means number 1 is Super Saiyan 4. So, honestly, I sometimes when I do these lists, I go 1A, 1B, and I kind of felt like it was more or less a closer debate between 2B and 2A, which would mean that number 3 would probably be 2B and this is 2A. I just, you know, aside from the damage output, which you could make the argument that 95% of Dokkan is damage, and I wouldn't disagree with you. But I've always been somebody that loves versatility, that loves link sets, that loves, you know, the separate gimmicks on units, like the other Vegeta can like lower enemies' attack and stuff. I just have a hard time seeing where, aside from damage, this Vegeta is just significantly better than the other one. But I'm going to go ahead and give him the nod simply on the merit of the fact that this guy is one of the hardest hitters in the game, period. No stacks necessary, none of that. And that is all, which, you know, I kind of talked about the top LRs in the game. He's one of the hardest hitters in the game, period, despite the fact that he got Shattering the Limit instead of Fierce Battle. If you look at, and I was talking to Rhymestyle earlier about this in DMs on Twitter, I said, you know, if you look at Vegeta all up and down, when you compare him to LR Broly and LR Gohan, he kind of gets the shaft all over the place because his better damaging super attack would be the Final Impact because it's Mega Colossal. The other one is just Colossal. So Mega Colossal innately would be better, which means that 17 key is basically his sweet spot, but that holds back his damage potential because he can't do what Gohan and Broly can do, and that he cannot, and they can, get a Mega Colossal at 24 key. And if you didn't know, the more key you get on these guys, the closer you get to that max key, generally, aside from this guy, because he's the only one like this that does it backwards, the more power that they output because it's a key multiplier. So that's kind of like one thing that really kind of just shafts him. But despite that, he still clocks in as being the second best Vegeta at this point because he still hits over 1 million. And I've said, and I will continue to say, that once you hit for, and by the way, he stuns, but it's a rare chance, like what's that, 10%, 20%, whatever that is, it's insignificant. It rarely happens, which is why it's a rare chance. I've said, and I'll continue to say, that as soon as you get to like 1.2 mil, 1 million, it doesn't matter anymore. Everybody's hitting for 1 million damage, and the only units in the game that can one-shot is primarily Gohan and Broly, and sometimes this guy, depending on the scenario. So it doesn't matter anymore. I don't discriminate when you get to that point. But bam, we have number one, the de facto best, in my opinion, which, by the way, you guys are going to finish hearing my opinion in a moment. I do want to know your list in the comments down below. I'm sorry if I offended somebody with my 2A, 2B thing. It really wasn't anything personal. He still clocks in as A, in my opinion. It's just, I don't see that as being like some super wide cataclysmic or whatever the word is, gap between them. But this guy, 150% key multiplier. Okay, immense damage, greatly lowers defense. I don't care about that. 120% up, unconditional attack and defense. So, going to be one of the best defensive improved tanks in the game. I've talked about that before. The only time that really lets you down, where they have the defense improvement like that instead of a mitigation like the STR Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta had, which innately he just says, okay, I'm going to block 80% of the damage you're sending me regardless. The only time this defense improvement lets you down is when you're fighting a boss and they greatly lower your defense. You know, if they don't, if you just get normal attacked or whatever, or they just simply can't lower your defense because they don't have that mechanic on their super attack, then you're good, you're golden. But if they lower that defense, they take away your ability to tank. But regardless, I'm not going to hold that against him because a lot of these new God leads or whatever have that same defensive improvement. So like him, so like Cooler, like Super Saiyan 4 Goku when he gets going after a few turns, whatever. They all do that. So no restriction on this, no turns, no HP restriction, none of that. He has a medium chance to dodge and counter with a super attack with ultra tremendous power. So yes, he counters super attacks too on a medium chance, which is, I don't want to put a number to it because I always get it wrong. I'll just say 25 to 50% chance, whatever the number is. So I think it's closer to 25 actually. Sand Roar Super Saiyan. Unfortunately, he doesn't have somebody that truly helps him out. I mean, Sand Roar and Sand Pride, I think, are both on Tora, but like you're not gonna run Tora just to brute force this Vegeta if you have better options. Prepare for Battle, Shocking Speed, GT, and Fierce Battle. Overall, amazing link set. Amazing stats. There's really nothing wrong with this Vegeta. I don't really get into the debate about God leads because it's just insignificant. It doesn't matter. They all do the same thing. And as I said a moment ago, when they hit so hard, it doesn't matter. It comes down to what you like. But I have nothing more to say. I'm sorry I don't have much to say. I just feel like it's very self-explanatory how good this guy is. So anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What is your top 5 Vegetas in the game? Let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for the continued support. Peace out, guys. Have an awesome day.